They couldn't have picked a better spot. Rolling green hills lined with healthy, well-manicured apple orchards, and in every direction, the southern Appalachians are the backdrop. The Mercier family has been calling these hills and this ever-growing apple shop home since 1943. And just like the family itself and the trees, the once humble apple shack has also grown and evolved into the must-see traveler's hotspot we witness today.
So my grandfather-in-law, Bill Mercier, came to Blue Ridge in late 30s, early 40s. He came here and he worked as the county extension agent, but growing stuff was his hobby. He loved to grow stuff. In 43, he purchased a small orchard that had already existed. It was about 25 acres. It had a couple of tractors and an old barn there on the hill that you can still see. He ran it for several years until about 1965. They built a road over here, old Highway 5, and when they built the road here, comes between Copper Hill and McKaysville, they decided to take the sales department from the old apple house and they built a new apple house here in 65. They ran that until about 72 when Bill's son came back from the military, Tim, who's my father-in-law, and Tim expanded the operation tenfold. He really was super interested in fruit. There used to be old bushel wooden boxes that were rectangular, about a volume bushel. And obviously 2 of them sat here way too long and the acid from the apples etched into the concrete floor, and it's been there ever since. So we haven't changed it. 50 years, 60 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. My wife and I came back to the farm in the mid-90s, I believe. He took me under his wings. He taught me everything he knew. He introduced me to a bunch of other growers. I came from working in a laboratory in Atlanta, and my wife worked for a TV show in Atlanta. So I had no idea of what farming was all about. The first day I was here, they wanted me to bush hog something, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? He's like, it's a big lawnmower. I was like, oh, I know what that is, okay. Tim wasn't very interested in the market aspect of it, all the knickknacks and all the other items that you see in the market, but my wife was really good at marketing. So she brought the market up to where it is today. She's really done a great job. And then I learned as much as I could from Tim, and we've been, just like Bill did, just like Tim did, the growing systems are all changing, varieties are changing, so it's really exciting.
What are you looking for here?
Really, you can look at seed count. You can look at the nice, good, dark seed. It means it's ready to go. 50 different flavors of what we sell here. It's just the fact that not everybody has the same flavor. If they ask me what my favorite apple is, it'd be something that's kind of tart. I like an apple that bites back when you bite into it, But this is a great one. This is called Crimson Crisp. It's brand new. It's a grower's delight. Doesn't get a lot of disease. It's good and firm. Has a lot of juice to it, and it'll keep for several months. So I really love this apple.
That's the sound you're looking for, right?
Yeah, exactly right. That crunch. That's what, I used to run the sampling counter so I get used to all the apples. And when people would come to the sampling counter, you'd think their first question would be, which one's sweet, which one's tart. Their first question is, which one's crunchy? That's the very first question. And then they're worried about flavor. So everybody wants an apple that's good and crunchy. So we try and connect a lot of the kids to the farm. We do a lot of U-picks and tractor tours so we can educate a lot of the children, because most people, even adults, don't realize that physically there's people here digging in the dirt to produce your food. It gives us credibility. So when people come in and they see the fruit on the shelves right there, they've been in the orchard, they know this is where it's coming from. They can put a face to their food. They know their grower, and they get that first big crunchy bite, and you can just see them light up, and they have a great time. So it is fun. Yeah, apples really brought us to the dance. That's what everybody knows us for, Mercier Orchards. But if you pin me down, the biggest sellers is our scratch bakery. Fresh breads, those handheld fried pies, those little pocket pies, donuts. That's probably our biggest seller. People love to come to the orchard to get those little handheld pies, and they are really good because they're still scratch made.
And here's an eye-opening example of where the demand obviously caught up with the supply, and how they adapted seemed to be something out of a sci-fi movie. Robots and humans working hand in hand to conquer an old-school recipe in record speed.
We'll make 2,500 gallons of cider a day. We like to let it sit overnight. That way you can blend all the different apple flavors together, plus it'll oxidize and give it that really nice rich brown color. The stuff we're bottling today is what we pressed yesterday. So that's our fresh tanks. You can see some dimpled tanks maybe in the background. That's our fermentation tanks. That's where we do our hard cider. So we do make a volume of about 2 or 3 traditional hard ciders that we do send to Atlanta and Georgia, throughout the state of Georgia. Those 3 flavors you can find at package stores, restaurants, bars. But if you want some really unique flavors, you got to come see me on the farm, because that's where we make all our real distinct flavors. We make a strawberry hard cider, we make a peach hard cider, we make a jalapeno, which is like a spicy peach cider. We make a Sneaky Jack, which is cider that's aged in bourbon barrels. So if you want some really unique ciders, you got to come see me. So this is the winery. This is where our hard cider and our wine is sampled and sold. We also gather as many local vineyards as we can and bring them in and showcase their wine. You can come get a flight of wine, you can come get a flight of hard cider and do some sampling. You can go sit out on our deck, enjoy the day.
The Merciers and their hard-working crew definitely have their hands full, but seem to be handling the popularity just fine. They understand their new customers' needs, but through the years, as they've grown, they've never lost sight of what got them here.
The store itself is, to me, it's really iconic, because the original store was built in '65, and it was just a small little area up there as you come in the front door. And as my father-in-law puts it, all we did was shed off and shed off and shed off and shed off, and it just grows and grows and grows, and there's tons of different stories to this building, and it's really neat. You know, if people catch one of us in the store, they can always ask us, and we'd love to talk about it.
So whether your car or your bus rolls into Mercier for the trails, the scenery, the gifts, cider, hard cider, apples, of course, or the legendary apple pies, just know in your heart you can't go wrong. Unless you just get 1 pie instead of 2.